Hello, hello, hello. Dr. Stephanie, aka Siren Creatrix, is in the house. How are you guys? I am on here to talk about the Open Hearts for Israel Planetary Charity that the Star Disco brand and apprenticeship is putting on for what's happening in the world right now. And so I wanted to talk to you about some ways that if this is something that you either are curious about or that you personally are feeling this, feeling connected to this, or maybe you're not, maybe you're feeling a bit indifferent or in that place of you don't want to get involved, or that it's, perhaps even feeling a type of numbness, or that, it's not the best use of your energy, that you perhaps feel it's a distraction. There's a lot of things that I want to share with you about that and how I see this, and really what this ultimately is as an invitation for your own personal healing, and how your own personal healing actually affects the whole, and what the whole is always, 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 always reflecting back to you about you. So before I get into that any further, though, I am going to invite people to watch and get this party started on a Tuesday, on a Mars Day. So for those of you guys that don't know, I am a doctor of Oriental medicine. I am also a professional singer, a recording artist. I am a mama of 3, and of course a wifey. Well, not of course a wifey, I am a wifey. And I am super, super passionate about, I'm also a teacher of astrology. I have a 1-year apprenticeship. It's called the Star Disco Apprenticeship, that is specifically for mothers and artists and entrepreneurs that want to work with the cycles of nature, with the planetary rites of passage, to transform and alchemize their life, to come out with their gifts, with their art, and to monetize and share their message, share their magic with the world. So with one of the planets, something that, let me tell you how this all got started. So I have for a while been looking for a charity to donate from the resources of my business. Because for me, business is about values. Business is about, circulating values of what I desire to see in the world. And through my business, through the money that comes through my business, it is my gift to the world, right? And so, but on top of that, there's also a way to give back in another way via charity. And so in the realm of astrology, or more specifically in the realm of astrological magic, there is a love language that is called planetary charity. And it's through donating of your time, your energy, your love, and or your resources that you are helping to clean and what we call remediate a certain planetary energy in your life. So if you're having a dysfunction, or you're having a challenge, or perhaps this area of your life, a certain area of your life is not strong, through performing planetary charity, you can actually, it's a remedy, and it's also a way to by loving and giving of your time to something that is an affinity, or that is on the same wavelength, for example, as what you're going through, you're able to bring healing to it. And so Mars is the planet of vitality. It is the planet of strength, of passion, but it's also of violence, and it is the significator of men in the chart. And so something that I have shared with you guys, but for those of you who are new, is, I have been in, it is also the planet of athletes and the military, war. But essentially it is a planet of creative confidence and courage. So, I have been an athlete my entire life, a collegiate judo champion, a gymnastics, not only a coach, but also a competitor, a dancer. I mean, all of the things. But Mars was also, my relationship with men was, and anger and violence has been something I have been healing for my entire life. Through my very early experiences with my father being, I grew up visiting my father in prison. And then from there, I had abusive relationships of all kinds in my life. And I have been, since then healing my relationship to this aspect of me, to essentially what is known as Mars inside of me. And through doing that, I have alchemized my relationships with men. I've changed the relationship first and foremost with my father, with my stepfather, with my husband, with my brothers, with all of the men in my life. I have never felt so supported, safe, loved, cherished, appreciated by men as I do right now in my life. And this is something that I'm sharing this with you because I want and available to you as well. Even if you have been in situations such as myself where there has been abuse or domestic violence or rape or war or fighting, this can all be alchemized and healed. And so, what we're seeing right now in the world, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in the Middle East is essentially a fight or a war between brothers that is so deep in the bloodline, that has been going on for thousands of years. And essentially it really boils down to they're fighting over an inheritance. They're fighting over an inheritance of power. And so let me back this up a little bit. So in the apprenticeship, part of what we do is we are, we're understanding the cycles of the planetary cycle. So what's happening in the heavens, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's a piece of a quote from the Emerald Tablets. And it's an alchemical text or a hermetic magical text. And one of the things that, we've been talking about eclipse season but also the cycles of Venus. And so as, I was sharing about what this is about, what this rite of passage is about, within like the next day, this, dropped onto the scene. And it was like word for word exactly what I was talking about. And this passage was about, a particular part of the sky that promises how to defeat your enemies without getting bloodied. And it is essentially about, your own inner authority. It's about your own inner authority. And when you're not connected to your own inner authority, and when you're not in your own power and truth, that then you attract conflict outside of you because you're not in alignment with yourself. And there's nothing wrong with conflict. We live in a world of duality. We live in a world where there are people of many different opinions, many different values, many different, thoughts and ideas. And so there's nothing, so inherently wrong with conflict. But it's about, number one, where you avoid conflict at the expense of your own truth, meaning where you want things to be nice and easy and you don't want to rock the boat, so you actually pretend and or you avoid conflict at the expense of truth, and or where you are so opinionated and or you're so stuck to your own viewpoint and perspective that you cannot allow for another perspective without making that person wrong or making them the enemy. So when you're not connected to your authority, you actually don't have this capacity in your life. When you're not connected to your own inner authority, then what happens is you experience a lot of turmoil and a lot of fighting in your life, a lot of anger and possibly aggression, because you're not in your truth. You're not owning, you know, the truth of who you are. And so, yeah, so very shortly after, what's up, T Dave? What's up, Eartha? So very shortly after this, you know, I was sharing this inside of the Star Disco Apprenticeship, news of what was happening in the Middle East erupted. And so what I want to share with you, you know, is an alternative way of viewing this, is that everything that you see in the world, every single thing, not just in the world, but in your life, is a reflection of you. Your perception is your reality. So meaning how you're looking at how you are looking at a scenario, how you are looking at a situation, and your response to it, your reaction to it, what you see about it, what you think about it, what you feel about it, how you see it, is actually a reflection of you. So on a grand scale, whenever we're seeing big things happening out in the world, like in an exaggerated sense, what that is, it's a reflection of actually what is suppressed in the collective. El grande. Yes, absolutely. A grand or a big. So the fact that there's all of this contention and there's all of this war and aggression and fighting is actually showing where that power, that personal power, because essentially that's what Mars is. It's about being connected to your authority, to your sovereignty, and to your power. So when something is exaggerated in our external world, whether that's with an individual, with one person in your life, or whether that's in like a grand scale, it is representing what is suppressed within the individuals of the collective. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying, because some of this, depending upon where you may be in your journey, is you might be like, I'm sort of understand it, but I don't quite understand. And, or, oh my God, I get it. And, or like, Stephanie, like this sounds like a whole other different language. And so I understand that, yeah, some of the things that I share might be something that feel a little bit out there or be foreign. And that is because I am a visionary. I have always been this way for my entire life, where I have been able to predict trends. I've been able to see things. I have a prophetic gift where I can see things that are going to happen and then they happen. Or I dream things and on repeat they happen. And so, and this is when we have visionary gifts, what I am speaking to is something that we are all moving towards. And part of my work is to, is to share that with you, to share that with you all. Understood. Amazing. Okay. So what we are seeing right now is this is an opportunity for each and every one of us to be looking within and asking ourselves, where am I not in my power? Where am I not in my authority? And or if I'm experiencing a lot of conflict in my life, if I'm experiencing a lot of fighting in my life, what needs to be resolved within me? What do I need to look at within me? Where is the hero and or the creative confidence within me that I am not owning? So that in and of itself is something that everybody can do right now. You know, as opposed to what I have seen, and I don't personally, you know, I don't think that it's the best approach, is to take this position of just like, that's something that's happening out there that has nothing to do with me. Or that's a distraction, that if I focus on that it's going to take away from my personal life. And yes, there is something to be said about where we place our attention and our focus, that does, it does grow that energy, right? But there is also something to, it's like if there is a fire happening, fires exist to get your attention. You cannot ignore. So this is what I am seeing is there is a fire, and it's what are you ignoring in your life? What is it? What is something in your life that you're avoiding? That is something you don't want to look at, something that you want to slip underneath the cover, that you want to pretend like doesn't exist, that you're just like, you know, I don't want to look at that. I don't want, because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to show yourself that you're capable. So many people do this with money. So many people do this with their relationships, is that they'll avoid addressing something that they know is bothering them, or something like, you know, it's kind of like in the back of their mind, but it's just like out of sight, out of mind if I don't. But meanwhile, you know, there's a huge difference between, you know, being, what's the expression? Tunnel vision, right? Where it's like, I'm focused, I'm got on a target and I'm going this direction, you know, and really addressing that anything that is not a part of your vision, you know, gets to go. You know, like we get to have that ability in our life as well. Meaning when we're raising our standards for what it is that we want in our life, and we're no longer available to tolerate mediocrity, when we're no longer available to tolerate less than beneficial situations in our life, where we go, I don't have time for this shit. The risks are too high. The stakes are too high for me to be playing games and messing around with people, situations, mindsets, whatever it may be, that is so much less than what I am capable of, than what I am worthy of. There's a huge difference between that and actually pretending like something doesn't exist, but it's actually still there underneath the surface and you're refusing to address it. Okay? This is, to me, you know, this thing has been going on for thousands of years. It's racism. It's competition. That is where you're trying to you're trying to compare yourself to somebody else, or you're trying to compete with your brother in order to make yourself feel better and or to prevent your death. This is actually on a genetic DNA level what this represents. And this is scientific. This is epigenetics. This is also based on astrology and astronomy. There are genes that are dying within the human race that must evolve for the human species to evolve. This is one of those genes. For those of you guys that are into the gene keys, this is specifically the 51st gene key, which has everything to do with initiating. My apologies for that. That is my bestie that I co-wrote, Dragon Ride. We are wrapping up the music video for those of you guys that have been following me, and you know that I have a music video that's coming out that has been behind the scenes, that I've been oh so fucking patient with. And so that was my soul sister. For those of you guys that know her, Julia, we co-wrote a song together, Dragon Ride, also known as Python. And the music video is... oh, it is imminent, guys. So for those of you, and for those of you guys who haven't heard the song, I will post the link to listen to that on Spotify or whatever music platform that you're into. Yeah. Ooh, Robin Williams. Oh my gosh. Robin Williams in the house. Whoa. I love it. Okay. So yeah. So I shared something about this on my stories where I spoke about brotherhood. And I spoke about, you know, where it's like, we're all one family. Like we're all one human fucking family. But where are we still, you know, like trying to, you know, we're still maybe jealous of like our friends or our brothers that are doing better than we are, right? And so maybe when somebody else is celebrating something amazing in their life, like, deep down inside, you feel bad about yourself, or you feel like you're hating on them, or you feel jealous, or you're comparing and you're competing with yourself. Because on some level, if you're really honest with yourself, you're not confident. Jealousy is the square root of confidence. And so as we're talking about Mars right now is in the sign of Scorpio, which Scorpio is all about those underlying, this is why I've been talking about like what's underneath the surface. It's jealousy, manipulation, control, playing mind games. Like those are the shadowy aspects of, of Scorpio. And so where Mars is, all these planets have what are called rites of passage. They're on these journeys to evolve, to grow, to, because we're here to evolve. We're here to evolve, guys. So Mars is in a very specific place in the hero's journey. So if you're a man, this is really important for men. But for women, it's also about, the man inside of you, or even how you relate to men in your life, or the part of you that stands up for themselves, that knows how to express themselves, that knows how to raise your standards, hold certain boundaries, and have the courage to put your art out into the world. It's about expansion, essentially, for women. So Mars is at a particular place in the journey where he is, so in mythology, or even in all of the movies that we watch, it's essentially a hero's journey. And so every movie that we watch, as we get into like this, what's so-and-so doing and what part of the journey, and they're going through this and they're going through that. Every single movie follows these sequences because we are the heroes of our own mythos. We are the heroes of our own story. We connect with stories. Our life is nothing but stories. What is our life but without our story? So that's what I want to tune you into here today, is where are you at in your hero's journey? I've been inviting you to go back to December 8th of last year. That's when this Mars journey began. It began in the sign of Gemini. If you're an astrology buff, you can go check out Gemini in your chart and what house that's in. But I want you to reflect about like what hero's journey or what mission have you gone on that now if you look back, you can see that you're at a halfway point and that you're facing what I call the dragon, or you're facing like it's like facing your shadow. It's facing something really challenging about yourself that maybe you don't want to see, or that maybe it's your personal comeback. Right? Mars is the planet of the comeback. And so this is what it's about. This is the invitation for each and every one of us, is that if you want to move through this passage, if you want to win, right? If you want to become the hero of your own fairy tale, what is it that you need to face that perhaps you're scared of, that maybe you're having a problem committing to? Maybe you haven't held true to commitments that you've made to yourself, and maybe you've failed at something so many times that you've just wanted to give up. What is that for you? And where do you need to draw upon your inner reserves and the inner strength to stand up and say, no, I am done with that. I am moving forward. That's what this is about. And the fact that it is being exaggerated in the Middle East is showing that this quality is actually repressed right now in the masses. So what is Open Hearts for Israel? This planetary charity, it's twofold. I have collaborated with one of my apprentices, the prayer priestess Eleni, where she is going to be hosting an amazing heart and mind coherence. I believe it's a combination of a meditation and a whole experiential journey for you to be able to open your heart and use the power of your heart to begin massively making changes in your life, to align the power of your mind with your heart, to forge a pathway forward, and to start with the power of the heart. As you heal your heart, you're also rippling this out into the world. And I would love for you to check out I will link this here in the comments where you can listen to Eleni specifically speak about this. And so Open Hearts for Israel, where you're going to get access to that training and that meditation of the heart-mind coherence with Eleni. And then you're also going to get education about spiritual technology, planetary spiritual technology that was used and is continued to use. It's now more of an occult practice, but was used by the ancient kings and queens to rule the lands. It was spiritual technology because at those times, the kings and the queens were seen as the most spiritual people of the community. They were closest to God. And because they were closest to God, they utilized specific spiritual technologies in order to make the choices and decisions to be the leader of not only themselves, but to be the leader of cities and to be the leaders of lands. And this is a lost art. This is something that, if we're honest, let's look at the leadership that's going on in this world, and it doesn't seem very spiritual to me. How many of us would honestly take a look at the person who is sitting on the so-called throne of this country and of many countries in the world, and can we honestly say, wow, that person is close to God, or that person is a sovereign, or that person knows how to make right decisions? And it's time for the individuals of the collective to take up that power, because it's not being done out there. It means that each and every one of us has to assume that position of being our own sovereign, and to step into your own self-leadership and using tools of spiritual technology, which is what I will be going into inside of Open Hearts for Israel. So it's 2 parts. You're going to get 2 different sessions, one with Eleni, one with me. I believe we've 55. I want to remember, it's $55. For a minute we were going to do it $49, but now we've decided it's going to be $55, which is, for the value, a drop in the bucket for this training. This training will change your life. If you wanted, I posted, the ability to change situations with your life at the snap of your fingers, this will change your life. And not only will this change your life, this teaching will be something that you can use over and over and over and over again, like a muscle that only gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, so that's Open Hearts for Israel. If you have interest in that, you need to put your name in the comments, and my team will get you the link so that you can join us. You will get lifetime access to the materials, and 100% of the profits is going towards charities for the victims, the women and the children of both sides, or whatever sides, the women and the children. Because what I stand for is you do not touch women and children. The house in which a woman cries is cursed. This is for the women and the children, because this is what Mars is the warrior. Mars exists to protect and provide for women and children. The fact that this is not happening represents, where is that happening inside of me? Where am I not taking a stand? Where am I refusing to take a stand for the innocents in this world? Or am I just going to pretend like it doesn't exist because it's not happening in my backyard? Because I'm not willing to get uncomfortable to feel something. This is about feeling something. This is about feeling something. When we say yes to living on this planet, there's so many things that we have to feel on this planet. And I know that it's easier to just bypass it, to spiritually bypass and be like, I can't think about that right now. I can't get involved and yes, there is, like I said, there's something to be said about focusing on you and taking care of you and taking care of your own. And when you spiritually bypass, meaning where you pretend that you're a bubble and that out there is not touching and influencing you, you are robbing yourself of the gift. You are robbing yourself of the transformation that exists to happen within the evolution of your cells. Because on this planet, if you do not change it in the body, If you don't address it inside of your cells and inside of your body, you don't change. You can do all the affirmations in the world. You can do all of the mindset work in the world. You can do all of the things in your head in the world. But until you feel it and until it changes you in the body, do not pass go, do not collect $200. You came to be a spirit within a body, which means the body feels things. All of your power is in the body. So this is what this is about, is to help you if maybe you are a feeler and maybe you are really sensitive. And so in order to know that about yourself and to protect yourself and your vessel, you need some support. You recognize that there is something there for you, but it's very challenging for your body to alchemize. Then this is for you. If you want to tap into the power that exists within inside of you to step into your own personal sovereignty, your creative confidence, your passion, your courage, your strength, then this is for you. So this is Open Hearts for Israel. If you have any questions, please let us know. All of the details will be inside a landing page that my team will be getting to you if you drop your names here in the comments. In addition, I also have rituals. So ritual goods and ritual items. This is a type of spiritual technology. So for example, I create Talismanic. I wish I could share this with you. It's so beautiful, but this is a Talismanic candle. I create these ritual goods as well as jewelry, sacred adornments. Here is an example of one that I created. This is a Mars talisman. So right now, if you go onto my shop, all of the Mars talismanic materia, which you can get all of the details about on my site, 100% of the profits is going towards this charity. And there is information with links to the charities that this is going to if you have questions about that. But 100% of the profits is going towards this charity, to the women and the children, to the victims of this violence. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully Eleni and I will be able to get on here next week and or in the next couple of days and chat on here together. We attempted to do that this morning, but for whatever reason, we both got on here separately. But I would love to introduce you to her. She is such a fabulous and amazing woman. And I just feel so blessed and honored to have her in The Apprentice and to be collaborating with her and to get her medicine and to get her work and to get her heart. She's an amazing public speaker, a performer. She is an author. I'm just getting all the chill bumps. She's such an incredible woman, and I want to introduce you to her and her work. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.